Hey, welcome to another episode of The Rob Report. I'm your host, Robert Bob TV Brown. Before we get into the segment, by the end of this video, I want you to do a few things for me. First of all, if you like the video, hit the like button. Please do. If you don't like it, hit unlike. It's okay. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Sometimes, as Jimmy Dole would say, you find yourself unsubscribed and you need to make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell right next to it so you can be notified when a new video is being dropped. Whoop, there it is. And more importantly, the super chat will be on for this segment, so if you want to donate toward the efforts of Bob TV, that's freely up to you. Any amount will help toward the growth of this channel. My name is Robert Brown with The Rob Report. Let's get into it. Welcome to The Rob Report. I'm your host, Robert Bob TV Brown. How you doing today? Well, the story I'm going to talk about, I'm going to ask that I want to warn you, is very graphic. And it's very painful for me. It's about a 50-year-old Chicago hospital social worker being raided by the police department. Butt ball naked. I had a dream that the police department came here and raided here, mistaken identity. You never know what happens. You come into the house, you just raid the wrong house, or you're looking for the wrong person. He's not even there. You go in there and you see, these police officers. Some of these police officers do not deserve to be police officers. They're off the rail. A lot of them drink too much on the job. They're agitated. They're always on the edge. How do I know? I was married to one. I was married to NYPD cops. Pretty lady. Sex is a mug. Always on the edge. Feel like they're gonna control. They control the perimeter stuff. You keep that at work, baby. Don't be bringing that stuff here. But the point is, you don't become a police. You don't work. You start off as a police officer. Your job is a police officer. About 3-4 years in, you're no longer it's no longer your job, it's who you are. You can't separate yourself. You are a police officer. That is who you are. You have a wife, you got or you have a husband, you got kids, or you go to church, but you still are. Your whole entire thinking and everything is police officer. You're a police officer 24 hours a day, and you can't turn it off.
I had just gotten home from work, and while I was undressing in my bedroom.
It was a cold February night, and Ann Jeanette Young, a social worker, had just finished her shift at the hospital.
You see them running up to the apartment complex with the battering ram in their hand, a crowbar. It was so traumatic to hear the way the thing was hitting the door. And it happened so fast, I didn't have time to put on clothes.
And suddenly, she found herself frozen in fear, completely naked, in a room full of men. 9 body cameras rolling.
And you're just standing there.
And I'm just standing there. I mean, terrified, humiliated, not even understanding why in that moment that this is happening to me.
And the first thing police reach for is not clothing, it's handcuffs.
There were big guns and guns with lights and scopes on them, and they were yelling at me, put your hands up, put your hands up.
What are you thinking right now?
I just remember, being so afraid. It's one of those moments where I just felt like that I could have died that night. If I had made one wrong move, I felt like they would have shot me. I truly believe that they would have shot me.
A police officer wraps a short coat around her shoulder, still leaving her front fully exposed. Even the sergeant in charge of the raid just stands there talking to her, while she has nothing covering her.
I live alone. No one lives here with me. You're telling me to relax something you guys have done? My name is Antoinette Young. What is going on here?
Then she gets a blanket.
They just threw something over me. And my hands are behind my back and I'm handcuffed. So there was no way for me to secure the blanket that they put around me.
But the blanket just keeps sliding open. More humiliation.
You need to tell me what you're looking for. What are you looking for?
You can see how some officers just stand there until this one, wearing a mask, sees what's happening and goes and holds it in place. The wrong place.
You have the wrong place. You got the wrong house. You got the wrong house.
We counted. She says it at least 43 times.
You got the wrong house.
And she was right. They were in the wrong house. Our investigation uncovered police failed to do the most basic research before getting the search warrant approved. We found they simply took the word of an informant who gave them Antoinette Young's address. The informant claimed a 23-year-old man who was a known felon had a gun and ammo inside.
I don't know who that person is. I've been living here for 4 years and nobody lives here but me. I don't have to shout. This is ridiculous. You got me in handcuffs. I'm naked. You kicked my house in. And I keep telling you, you got the wrong place.
Then, during the raid, something happens. Watch as two of the officers go to their squad car and begin reviewing their notes about the warrant. CPD would not comment on what you're about to hear the officers saying a few minutes later.
It wasn't initially approved or some crap.
What does that mean?
I have no idea, because they told him it was approved, and then I guess that person messed up on their end.
Messed up is an understatement. So, where was the target? Our investigation revealed he was awaiting trial on home confinement here at a different apartment in Antoinette Young's complex. How easy would it have been to locate him? Easy. Real easy. Because he was wearing a police tracking device, an electronic monitoring bracelet. It's possible he could have even heard the raid happening, because records show he was confined to the unit right next door.
But I'm telling you it's wrong. I'm asking you to let me call somebody. I'm asking you to let me put some clothes on. I'll sit here and let you do whatever you need to do. But let me call somebody, let me call an attorney, because I'm telling you this is wrong. I have nothing to do with whoever this person is you're looking for.
We found if they would have done a little bit more research, they might have found where the target actually lived.
Yes.
Why did
I
that
think
dude
Scrub was
look
being
like?
too kind because ultimately this is a constitutional rights issue. And
Keenan
so,
Salter is Antoinette Young's attorney and is suing the police department.
if this had been a young woman in Lincoln Park by herself in her home, naked, a young white woman, let's just be frank, if the reaction would have been the same. I don't think it would have been. I think they would have saw that woman, rightfully so, as someone who was vulnerable, someone who deserved protection, someone who deserved to have their dignity maintained. They viewed Ms. Young as less than human.
Can I please call somebody?
Yeah, man, relax. Relax,
How can I relax when this is going on?
They did eventually walk her to a room to remove the handcuffs so she could get dressed, but then put them right back on and kept questioning her.
There are no firearms in this place.
There's no gun in this place. I'm a social worker. I've been a social worker for 20 years. I follow the law. I don't get in trouble for anything. I don't do illegal stuff. I'm not that person. You got the wrong information.
At this point, the sergeant in charge of the raid tells the officer who got the warrant to step outside.
Let's go talk outside.
But you won't hear it because once outside, the body camera is shut off. Back inside Antoinette's home, another officer finally uncuffs her. She had been bound for 20 minutes. Listen as the sergeant returns with a new message.
We believe your story.
And you can see him trying to fix the door they busted so she could close it and lock it. But it was too damaged to repair, so watch as they try to find something to wedge it shut. They settle on an ironing board.
Surreal?
Surreal. It's almost like a bad movie. When I watch this, I feel like I'm watching a movie. But those are no actors. I'm no actor. This is my real life. And it happened to me. They're adding trauma to people's lives that will be with them for the rest of their lives. The work is warranted. They need to do the work, but they need to do it right. They can't just callously do it and leave people's lives in ruins because they got it wrong.
The sergeant in charge apologized to her before he left. CPD has refused to comment on this case. It's been 2 years since the raid, and COPA, the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, says they're still in the process of trying to interview all of the officers involved. They did not say if anyone has been disciplined.
Now that the video has finally been released, nearly 2 years later, Young is telling her side of the story. After a long and embarrassing search, police eventually admitted she was right.
Making an immediate policy change so victims will no longer have to fight for their own body camera video.
Anytime a person who's a victim requests information about an incident that happened to them, our government's obligation is to respond in a fulsome, transparent, and immediate way. We will change our policies and procedures to make sure that a victim who reaches out shouldn't have to file a FOIA request, should just get the information that they seek.
This is why they call police officers race soldiers, because they don't do that to white people as I'm not going to say they don't ever do it, but they don't do it in a rapid, aggressive like they do black people. They may do it to some poor white people who don't have no money. They may do that to them, but not on the level they do it to black people. This is disgusting. That's why there need to be staunch laws when you get it wrong. When you get it wrong, you should be fired. This lady told them on at least 10, 20, 30 times, you got the wrong person. It's not me. You got the wrong person. Don't tell me to calm down. How you going to tell me to calm down? You busting my house. You're busting the wrong house. I ain't doing nothing. I'm doing my own thing. You busting in my house like you really have a right to do that, and you don't. And then you going to tell me to calm down? Are you freaking kidding me? Get out my house. You got the wrong house. Do you have any guns? If I had any guns, why would I tell you? I don't need to talk to you about anything. I got a right to remain silent. And this is why I've been, people ask me, why do you go on your off time and do these workshops on identity theft? You do these workshops on legal protection and things like that. Why you do that? And why do you offer a product that helps people legally? Because of stuff like this. Because she would have had an opportunity to call her attorney right then and there, and the attorney would address the officers accordingly. I guarantee you, she didn't have an attorney. She had to go find one. And that attorney, I guarantee you, he's probably not an attorney that specializes in those types of cases, but she hired him anyway. Attorneys don't specialize in a couple of areas. They're not jacklegs. They don't do it all. They don't specialize in everything. A law firm does, but not an attorney. Can you imagine that? You're relaxed, you're sleeping, all of a sudden they bust in your house looking for somebody, thinking that you're hiding something. No matter how much you scream at the top of your lungs, you got the wrong place. Get out of my house. You got the wrong place. Don't tell me to calm me. Who are you talking to? You calm down. You don't. Imagine that. This is disgusting. And the police department fought everything they could. And I guarantee you most politicians in that area did whatever they could to kind of keep that quiet. I don't know what Miss Lightfoot did, or Mr. Lightfoot, whatever. I know some of y'all going to get mad. I don't know if Lori Lightfoot really pressed on that. Something got to be done. This is why just putting people in office is not enough. Joe Biden's going to beef up the police, and he's not going to do nothing about that. Heck, he was about to hire the person who cover up this stuff. But you think he got your back. You honestly think he got your back. He'll probably say something out here to make it seem like he got our back, but when it come down to doing the nitty-gritty, getting things done, nope. No. Look at how Ron Emanuel covered up, did whatever he could to protect the police officers instead of the crime of murdering Mr. McDonald. Think about the cops that Kamala Harris protected. Quite a few situations where she protected the cops. People are always going to talk about the brother attorney general out there in Kentucky, and he's filed, and he need to be removed and justifiably charged himself about Breonna Taylor. But it don't just happen on a Republican either. It happens on the Democratic end too. This is a shame. This is a doggone shame. A woman minding her own business, get raided in by police, majority of them white, in stark terror, scared for her life. In these situations, when it comes to black people, we're scared for our life. I guarantee you, if you white or, you're probably scared, but not for your life. Situation like that happen for us, we're scared for our life because we already heard the stories. And sometimes it's easy to believe that's on purpose to strike fear into black people. Where you can't even relax in your own home and you still get killed. People talking about, I don't never do no wrong. This ain't got nothing to do with you wrong. We got a society has wrong thinking. This lady is a social worker. She don't do no wrong according to her. She don't start trouble according to her, but they still did that. And if she would have made the wrong move, if she would have picked up a black telephone, they probably would have said it was a gun and killed her. You have to do something about this. And this is another reason why you got to put the heat on politicians. Don't wait for the politicians to put heat on other politicians to pass bills. We are the ones that's going to be the heat seekers. We have to push them aggressively to get things done or get out. Get things done and get out. It's just like any other job. The boss puts you in a position to get things done. If you don't do it, you got to go. So why is there a big deal about applying the pressure on politicians? Your career is at stake if you don't do the job. You went there. Your career is to do the job. If you don't do the job, you need to go. I'm Rob Brown with the Rob Report. I'll let you later. Peace. Let's go over this article. After Wednesday's City Council meeting, Mayor Lori Lightfoot apologized. Ms. Young, knowing that my words will not change what happened to you and your family almost 2 years ago, I nonetheless say I'm sorry. What you experienced should have never happened, period. Anjanette Young doesn't crave a spotlight. It is easy to put this type of exposure out there, she said Wednesday, outside of a Chicago police headquarters in Bronzeville. I'm somewhat of a private person, so this is not something that I enjoy doing, but this is something that's very necessary. If you ask me what I want from this, I want accountability. Girl, you better get some money too. Accountability and money. They need to pay for it monetarily. I don't need social media followers. I don't need that type of stuff. I need accountability. For the past 2 days, footage of CPD's officer incorrectly raiding Young's near West Side home has put City Hall on the defensive. Nearly a dozen officers went into Young's home in February 2019 to execute a search warrant. Though they were acting on bad information, Young could be heard on the video telling the officers more than 40 times that they were in the wrong home. Young, a social worker, were getting ready for bed at that time and was naked when officers came inside. The encounter was captured on an off-body worn camera and was broadcast by CBS earlier this week. Over objections from the city, listen to this, over objections from the city's law department, Young tried to obtain the footage herself through a Freedom of Information Act, but she was denied. Why are you denying her the right to get information about you guys falsely coming into her house? Because you're embarrassed, that's why. The video release has forced City Hall to confront the reality that Mayor Lori Lightfoot administration fought to keep the footage under wrap. Mayor Lori Lightfoot, black LGBTQ woman, fought to keep the footage under wraps. Though Lightfoot has denied having knowledge of the raid until this week, you're the mayor, and you're denying that you knew nothing about this. Although it wasn't on the agenda, Young was a point of contention during the final city council meeting of the year as Alderman Byron Sigaco Lopez, 25th, clashed with Lightfoot over the specifics of the raid. After the meeting, Lightfoot offered Young a frank apology. Miss Young's dignity that she and all of us deserve was taken from her in those moments. And that is simply inexcusable, Lightfoot said. Miss Young, knowing that my words would not change what happened to you and your family almost 2 years ago, I nonetheless say I am sorry. What you experienced should never happen, period. No, look, Miss Lightfoot, 2 years ago? And now you're just going to give her apologies? I mean, thank you very much for the apologies, but that's a traumatic experience, and you and your city are going to pay for it. See, I keep telling you people, kin folks are not always your skin folks. And people that's in the same community with you may not be doing right. This is pathetic. It's unacceptable. It tells me they don't care about me. A person who lives in the city. I work, I pay my taxes, I vote. And look how they still treat you. Young said, her voice shaking as a tear rolled down her cheek. And so to have my home invaded the way it was for over 40 minutes. 40 minutes to have to deal with the police officers yelling at me. Pointing guns at me. Telling me to calm down. Making me stand in front of them naked. Putting handcuffs on me while I was naked. No one should have to experience that. There's no way for that to go away. Young told reporters she voted for Lightfoot. She voted for Lightfoot. That's why I say you better be careful who you're voting for. She voted for Lightfoot, who was a candidate, visited Young's church in Armour Square neighborhood just a few blocks west of CBT headquarters. Addressing Lightfoot directly, Young said, I was there when you came to my church and you campaigned, and I was all on board for voting for you. And I did vote for you. And I told my friends to vote for you. I believed in you as a black woman that was running for mayor in the city of Chicago. So I want you to come back to my church, and I want you to respond to this because that's where you asked me to vote for you. So come back and tell me and the people at my church how you're going to fix this so this never happen again to me or to anyone else. It's not okay. The Civilian Officer of Police Accountability, COPA, said it launched an investigation into the officer's action related to the search of Young's home November the 12th, 2019, shortly after Young filed a lawsuit against the city in connection with the raid. The investigation remains ongoing, COPA said. As the suit was progressing, the city turned over the video footage to Young and her attorneys with the protective order to place that prevented it from being shared with anyone else. So you're going to tell me we can't share your mistakes with the world? You make a mistake, but yet you can get me on your cameras butt ball naked, humiliating me. But I can't expose you for what you did was wrong? The city has in recent years reported extensively on bad raids by the CPD. So they got a habit of doing bad raids. And Young's attorney have remained mum on how the video was made public. In a court filing Wednesday, attorneys for the city called for sanction against Young lawyer. No, the city, probably 9 times out of 10, leaked that footage and trying to put sanction on Young's lawyers, trying to blame it on Young. But they also told the judge that the city intended to release the remaining videos in its entirety with the appropriate redaction related to the plaintiff's privacy. Now, my thing is, who's releasing the video hurts who more? Do it hurt the cops or hurt her? She the one got to be humiliated over and over again with that video being played. The cops not being humiliated, they should, but she got to be humiliated standing there naked for 40 minutes, letting them know that you got the wrong house, bruh. Keenan Solter, one of Young's attorneys, said the city should move to publicly release all footage of the police encounters with civilians. A policy like that, Solter said, would be helpful to both police and members of the public. Release all the videos. Bring light to the issue. Shine the bright light of the public on the what the police are doing, Salter said. When the police are right, that will be seen. This is not an attack against all police officers. We all have personal friends who are members of the Chicago Police Department. We respect the job that law enforcement has to do, but with that job comes responsibility. With that job comes a duty. And with body cameras, if used properly, they protect the officers. Although Young's initial federal lawsuit was dismissed early this year, it was dismissed. Salter said he filed a new suit Wednesday relating to Young previously denied the Freedom of Information Act. They dismissed her lawsuit. They denied her a FOIA request. Why? She did nothing wrong. Minding her business. These fools coming in there and just busting in, like kicking the door, waving the 4-4 like they Biggie Smalls or somebody. They just go in there and just raid the lady house, asking all kind of dumb questions. Do you have any weapons? And then come to find out they got the wrong order. That it wasn't even valid. This is why they want to cover it up. And I'm glad her lawyer reopened the case because she should be able to get some kind of recompense for this. And at the same time, they need to be exposed for their sloppy ways of policing. They're sloppy. Going around tormenting people. Making people don't want to trust the police anymore. The job of the police officers is to serve and protect. But it's really to strike fear and harass. They're making it look bad for other ones that are genuinely doing their job. I wanted to be a police officer one day until one day I saw a window that was broken, and guess who they arrested? Me. Killed my desire. You can keep your police position. It was a small town. I wouldn't have been doing a whole lot of crime, but I happened to see this window was busted. I don't know if I don't know what was going on. I called it in and they arrested me. Accountability need to come to your local police department. Somebody die in your custody and you use physical force, you should be fired. You should be suspended without pay. I go for is fired. You should be suspended without pay. There need to be an independent investigation. You don't get no benefits. Fired without pay until the investigation is over with. And if it's found that you're innocent, then you probably can get your job back, but you ain't going back on the beat, bruh. But you should be fired without pay. And you should not be able to get another job at any police department. It should be a huge mark in the database that do not hire this guy. He's sloppy. What they did was sloppy. And as a result of this lady, life has changed forever. And they did whatever they can to keep her from profiting, getting recompense. They did whatever they could from her getting a FOIA request to get the videotape. They did whatever they can to cover up for this. And who was in charge? A black woman, the mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot. Democrat. It don't matter to me whether you're Democrat or Republican. This was crappy. This was sloppy. And she ought to be ashamed of yourself. It's time that we start putting some legislation, putting the heat on politicians to put some policies in there that hold police officers accountable, which includes jail time in a federal penitentiary or state penitentiary if it's a homicide or a murder, if it's ruled that way. And also, if need be, the highest to the extent of law. I'm Rob Brown with the Rob Report. This is disgusting. Talk to you later. Peace.